Alright everybody, just before the video quickly starts here, I just want to make it clear, I have no technological video game-esque background. What I do understand though, is if you lower the graphical quality, take soundtracks out of the game, or slow that stuff down, take stuff out of the game, it'll, shrink the video game storage size, the megabytes, gigabytes, etc. This is all just for theory and fun video purposes. Alright, enjoy the video. Man, The Escapists. What a great game. A very small game, in fact. So small it's smaller than Terraria and around the same size as Twisted Metal. Which begs the question, could we fit The Escapists onto an N64 cartridge? That is the video for today. But before, let's just appreciate, man, you open the game for the first time ever. I did this back in sometime in the 2016, 2017, those 2 years. And just hearing this theme song, knowing that the second game was on the way too. Wow, this theme song absolutely slaps. When we, if in our theoretical version for this game to fit onto an N64 cart, we keep this theme song no matter what. This song, absolutely great. But yeah, The Escapists. A very simple, pixelated 8-bit prison game. You got 6 prisons to go through, there's a couple DLC and whatnot, and in the earlier games, they're kind of easy. You wake up, go through roll call and all this stuff, do a bunch of this stuff that they want you to do, but in your free time, your job time, or if you're, I guess, bold enough, you just go ahead during the shower periods and don't show up and whatever, and you go do what you have to do, which is escape. You go loot others' chests and stuff from your fellow inmates, you go trade, do missions inside to make money so you can buy stuff from the traders, and you can then build pickaxes and shovels and stuff, or just do a bunch of different things. You can make a bunch of weapons and armor, get really, really bulky with your stats and fight your way out. But again, in the later prisons, you usually just kind of sneak out, it gets really tough. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that you can do with The Escapists. But what would I do to keep this game, shrink it a little bit down? Here's the storage size here. Compared to the other games we've done, this actually might be the smallest one. Like, Twisted Metal, I think, was the smallest at, between 300 350 megabytes. This is 327.4 megabytes for The Escapists. So, comparatively, relatively small. Again, I think our smallest game. Again, as always, I'm going to compare it. They put Resident Evil 2, a 2-disc PS1 cartridge, 2-disc PS1 game onto an N64 cartridge, so from 1.4 gigabytes to 64 megabytes. They did that back then with the technology, so in theory, with 327 megabytes, we don't have to remove a whole lot. And two of the big things I want to remove, because we're trying to keep the game, mostly the same. So one, obviously, we're not going to be adding DLC. Back then, you couldn't really buy DLC for any games, so that's obviously a big one. But the second one is the maps. There are a total of 6 maps. And the maps we will be removing is the Shankton Penitentiary and the Jungle map. And the reason why is while the Jungle map, I believe, is the smallest one, although one of the tougher ones, it's not really needed. Same with the Shankton Penitentiary. See, for the Shankton map, it's very similar to your starting map center perks, and very similar to the end maximum security prison map, right? This starting one is a very leisurely okay prison, then you have a maximum security prison, and then the middle one, Shankton Penitentiary, is just your average jail, average prison, right? You take that one out because it's the average, and then you just have a very light one, and your average light prison, and then a very maximum security prison. You have one in the winter, which is really cool, and then you have one in the desert, which is really cool. The jungle one, out of all the themes, is very similar to these other ones that have the green and whatever outside. Having a cool desert looking like that, or a cool winter, looks really, really cool, at least I think. So yeah, that's what I would do. Now, some of the other stuff that I would do is going in, there's a money system. There are jobs that you get by either kicking people out, or you might just start a job and whatever. So yeah, you have a job that you can do, and that's how you make money. You can also sell stuff to people and ask for money in return. You can do missions for them, and it all works for the trading system. Now, this might be, okay, it's a little bit tough, but I think personally what we do is we take out the missions. The reason why is I've always had this problem. There are some missions that just give you so much money, even though there are certain jobs in this game that can give you up to 50, I believe 50 or 60 like dollars per time you do it. Of course, you have to wait outside and take the person out to get that job. They give you so much money. Plus, it would save so much more text space from getting rid of all the different missions that ask for a different item in return. So if we got out all the missions, we keep the trades, we keep the traders and whatever, but we get rid of all the missions that you can get, all those quests. That would definitely save a lot of space, I figure anyways. Then a lot of the stuff we can do is we can get rid of some of the items. Like for example, there's like a broom and the mop. They do the exact same thing for weapons. Just get rid of one and keep the other. Again, similar to the rake, I believe that's in there. Or you have the comb shiv and the brush shiv, or the comb and the brush. That's all you do is you turn them into a really weak weapon. I think the toothbrush is also there. Just take like 2 of them out and just keep like, say, the comb. So you keep the comb. Let's say we keep the rake or something because there is a job that requires it. I know there's a job that requires the mop too, but I believe the rake one pays you more. So we just keep one of those items, for example. So let's say we keep the rake, we keep the comb. There we go. We take out then the broom and the other one. And then we take out like the toothbrush and we take out the hairbrush and whatever. Again, it just saves more space for getting rid of some of these items as well. Trade prices will stay the same. Again, the only way to get money is you do your job. All the items, if you know, you can like go, there's so many different items in the game that do different things. Most of them we can keep the same. We can get rid of some of the food items. We don't need donuts, we don't need cookies, we just need, say, muffins as an example. Chocolate bars, yes, you can eat those, but those make a really powerful weapon, so they're a completely different thing. But again, we don't only need, because we're trying to loosen this stuff, we don't need some of the junk stuff. Like that's just, you sell or as a gift, so like dice, clocks, deck of cards. They don't do anything besides being like loot items that either make money or just give away, that sort of thing. So let's say we keep a couple, pick your choice of whatever you want. If you want to keep the dice because you think that it looks cooler, sure. If you want to keep the cards, sure. Let's just keep maybe 1 or 2 of those little loot treasure items and get rid of some of the other ones. Plastic knives make sense for the cutlery, but they're completely useless. They don't do anything. I believe they might cut out fences. I've actually never tried to cut a fence with a knife. I don't know if that does what it does, but the plastic spoons and plastic forks you can find are the more important ones, because the plastic forks you can chip away at your wallet, and your plastic spoons you can dig a hole in. So we'll keep those 2 and we'll just get rid of the plastic knives entirely. Again, I'm just going to pinpoint really, really specific items. The bar of soap makes the sock mace. Now, we can keep the sock with some other stuff, but we absolutely don't need the bar of soap. Again, it's a very weak weapon. It's a very useless weapon, I find, whatever. Another big thing we're going to get rid of, for a lot of games back, in the N64 era, there wasn't tutorials. Instead, you got your manual inside your box that came with your game. Similar thing, get rid of the entire tutorial for center perks. That would save a lot of memory storage space as well, so we just completely overhaul that and get that out of here. Don't need it at all whatsoever. My final thing would be probably some of the armor variants. For example, you can get metal plated armor, you can get armor padded with a pillow, and you can get armor with a book. Get rid of the book, that's also a treasure item, so just get rid of the book entirely for the armor and get rid of the pillow armor. Keep the pillow because that's how you make the dummy, I believe, in your bed, so it looks like you're there but you're not there, right? Keep the pillow, but don't make any armor. I think that just adds another thing that you don't need. The only armor you really need is the metal, because if you're going to be playing this game to buff all your stats, which we'll talk about in a second here, I don't understand why you really need the book. You're not going to be using that. You're just going to go right for the metal to buff your stats and then fight your way out, because that is a thing you can do. You can just beat your way out of the prison with a good enough weapon like a baton or something. But yeah, just keep the metal armor, get rid of the other 2 armors. Now, I did mention the stats, so there are 3 stats in the game that require certain things. Your speed ups your stamina recovery, I believe, but also how fast you move. Your strength ups your health, but also how much damage you do. Weapons depend on that as well, but if you have your damage really high, it's like a 2-shot for a lot of guards in the earlier prisons. And then finally you have your intellect, which impacts your crafting. So if you start with all your stats level 30, if your intellect's level 30, you can't craft the metal armor. You have to get your intellect to 80. 80 is the max for intellect, so I figure, you know what, let's tone down the 100, because it has to take into account all your health and whatnot that goes along with getting your stats to the max, and your speed boost. We can tone that down a bit to better equate it. Again, it might barely even save a megabyte, maybe a couple KB, which are kilobytes, which are even smaller than megabytes. But again, all the little things will add up. So that's what we go ahead and we do. We tone that down and make the max stats 80. So that way your health, your max would be 40, your stamina max is always 100, but that way your max intellect would be still 80 and you can still craft all the stuff required. Yeah, I think that's really it. Like I said, this game is already the smallest game we've looked at. Again, 327 megabytes isn't a really big thing. So taking down 2 prisons, a bunch of little items here and there, knickknacks or whatever, overhauling the entire trade system without like getting rid of all the missions and stuff. Which would also get rid of your opinions on people. So there are opinions that you can get on guards, which means guards are more likely to turn a blind eye against you if you attack someone or whatever. And maybe you get a partner that will help you out, and you can send them to go attack someone else to distract you. Again, we get rid of all that, get rid of the tutorial. A lot of this stuff we can get rid of. Again, some of the nitpicky items like the treasure items or the food items or whatever. All that added up will, I believe, suffice, and we'll have enough space that this game will be able to fit onto an N64 cartridge. Also, really quickly, I'm wondering if anyone actually noticed my name of my character. It was Schofield, and if you know who Schofield is, Michael Schofield specifically, put down in the comments below. Let me know if you know who that is from a very famous TV show, and I want to know if any of you caught that as well. I really wanted to do the Escapists for a bit now, but I only got around to doing it now. But it's such a fun game, and if you haven't played it, honestly, go ahead and play it. It's a great game. But yeah, that's how I think we could fit the Escapists onto an N64 cartridge. I hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. As I mentioned, January, going to be a little bit of a dead month, but with February, we'll pick it back up again. So I'll see you guys next week for another video. Hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. Maybe leave a like, maybe leave a nice comment down below, maybe hit that subscribe button, retain that little bell, and I'll see you guys next time, like I just said, for another video. Bye, guys.